Embo is a Kyuzo bounty hunter from the planet Fatrong. He is active and most well known during the waning days of the Galactic Republic. This transmission is going to cover Embo's full story, looking at both canon and legends. During the Clone Wars, Embo is a hired hunter that you could rely on. Count Dooku of the Confederacy of Independent Systems said that he was the second most successful bounty hunter working, Cad Bane being the only one to beat him out. This is in mission success rates of the Separatists, not in the most successful hunter period. That would of course go to Jango Fett. Embo wielded a modified bowcaster and wore a distinct large circular hat. The hat is made of phrik alloy and could be thrown as a razor-edged weapon or used as a shield. His slight frame allowed him to be incredibly agile, as he was also incredibly fit. Like most bounty hunters, Embo often teams up with others in the name of getting a job done. Unlike most other hunters, he does have loyalty beyond credits. He has a male Anooba called Marrok that he loves more than anything. Anooba are a carnivorous, dog-like creatures with gray and black striped hair. A ridge of longer, coarse hair runs along their spines, and they have tusks protruding from their bottom jaw. Marrok is more than a pet. He would help Embo on missions. BBY-22 saw some of the earliest phases of the Clone Wars. Embo emerged on the galactic scene around this time. His introduction saw him and other hired guns defending a Felucian farming village. This village wasn't under attack by the Republic or Separatists who are at war. A band of pirates, the Onaka gang, were trying to steal the villagers' livelihood, Nycillan crops. The mercenaries almost get more than they bargained for when 3 Jedi crashed on the planet and stumbled into the village. Embo wasn't fazed by these potential new opponents. He even taunts Anakin Skywalker. The Jedi and mercenaries would put their differences aside to fight the pirates together. When the real fighting begins, Embo demonstrates impressive combat skills that would make even a Jedi sweat in single combat. He kills many pirates without hesitation before a heavy blast knocks him unconscious. A testament to his will, this blast could have easily killed a lesser warrior, but Embo pulls through. This introduction of the character isn't just important in the context of the Clone Wars, but shows that this mercenary had his own code of honor. Even with this code of honor, his continued work through the war did have him taking jobs for credits more often than not, but these jobs never conflict with who he is at his core. He'd do jobs with the young Boba Fett and his crew, as well as more established syndicates like the Hutt Cartel. Another important event of the Clone Wars sees Embo answering an invitation from Count Dooku. Dooku sets up a competition for bounty hunters and mercenaries to find the best of the best. These select few who prove themselves compete for a mission to kidnap Chancellor Palpatine. Embo rises to the challenge and passes the gauntlet. He even takes out a couple of his opponents by force. The team of mercenaries carry out a mission with far too many hollow-projected shape-shifting and decoys. Jedi Knights ultimately foil the plan, and Embo, for the first time in his career, ends up in Republic custody. If you're getting value or entertainment out of any of my transmissions, it would mean a lot if you would join the Remnant and subscribe. Strangely, I can't find details of how Embo escapes custody. I can't imagine he was let go after trying to kidnap the highest-ranking politician in the Republic, but less than a year later, he's back to work. He does his best to stay out of the larger conflict of the Clone Wars. He continues his bounty hunting work, preferring to exist in the underworld. The next major skirmish of note has Embo and some other hired muscle defending the Hutt Council from Maul and his brother, Savage Opress. Embo does as good as anyone could hope to do against the 2 dark side-fueled Zabraks, but when their hired army of Mandalorians from the Death Watch faction arrive, the hired bodyguards to the Hutts have to retreat. This story gives us some of the coolest action that we see from Embo in the Clone Wars, and also shows that he's loyal to his employers, but he's not willing to throw his life away purposely for them. Embo's final mission of the Clone Wars is a fitting end to the era for him. He's once again teaming up with the familiar faces in Boba Fett and Bossk. They're hired by another familiar face, Asajj Ventress, to rescue a kidnapped Jedi, Quinlan Vos, from Count Dooku, bringing Embo back into Dooku's orbit. The mission becomes personal for all the Force wielders involved and goes beyond the scope of what Embo and his non-Force sensitive allies agreed to. They bail and let Ventress and her former master figure things out. Embo falls out of the history hollows at this point. The galaxy falls from the Galactic Republic to the Galactic Empire. Many mercenaries go to ground to try to get a feel for what the new rule of the galaxy will make of them. There's a nod to Embo here and there over Palpatine's reign, but he doesn't properly re-enter the story until after the destruction of the second Death Star. He's hired to hunt down Lando Calrissian, who flew as a general against the Empire at Endor. He fails this contract, but it is the first concrete evidence that we get of his activities in a long while. Embo teams up once again with familiar bounty hunter Dengar. They hunt down a woman called Jas Amari, who betrayed a high-ranking member of the dying Empire. Amari is the niece of a female Zabrak named Sugi, who Embo once worked with and respected. He turns his back on his client to help Amari, honoring his past alliance with Sugi. This new alliance of bounty hunters instead hunt Imperial officers, thinking that the New Republic would pardon their past crimes in the new galaxy. Not only do they hunt Imperials, but they even rescue famed New Republic pilot Nora Wexley when her ship goes down on Jakku. Mon Mothma, who is now the Chancellor of the New Republic, does indeed pardon Embo and his allies, along with giving them a generous payment. For the first time in decades, Embo is on the right side of the law and has a clean slate, even with some money in his pocket. He stays on this side of things for a while, still hunting bounties, but for the reigning government. After this latest alliance runs its course, Embo decides to settle down. He returns to Felucia, where we started his story. This would have been a sweet ending for the bounty hunter retiring with his life. He's still capable, his mind is still clear, and he's on the right side of the law. Settling down on a beautiful planet where he once stood up to raiding pirates, helping those who couldn't help themselves. It's a moral high for him. The galaxy was not done with Embo. In ABY 34, a mercenary called Bazine Natel tracks Embo down for information about the Millennium Falcon. Embo recounts his unsuccessful mission hunting Calrissian years before, the link there being, of course, that Calrissian piloted the famed freighter in the Battle of Endor. Embo is paid for his information and left to tend to his farm. The story gives us a look at Embo's life many years after we first meet him. It also shows that although he's getting older, his skills are sharp and he's maintaining his impressive physicality. This character does also exist in Legends, but his character is exactly the same. It's the rare case where a character has a presence in both continuities with zero contradictions. Any additional tales of Embo in non-canon sources has his character, feats, attributes, and history being the same. Legends that go beyond the Battle of Endor don't include Embo at all, but they also don't give him a death or send-off that would get in the way of his canon story. Embo's story actually isn't done. At the time of this transmission, the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie is supposed to see the Kyuzo bounty hunter on the big screen in the era after Endor, but before his retirement to Felucia. Check out this transmission next for more on Star Wars bounty hunters.